kitchen. I'm so excited to show you this new cake. I've been dreaming about this cake for years, and it's a really, really cool effect, and I haven't seen it done anywhere else. And I give you, ladies and gentlemen, the Terrazzo Cake. It's basically a surface that they use for floors, walls, and it's kind of like concrete really, which they'll cast, and they can put anything in it, like quartz, granite, all types of stone, glass. So I was thinking, how the flip am I going to make this? How am I going to do it? Do I paint it on? Can I set the bits in buttercream? I've had a few tests and I think I've nailed it. So yes, you can thank me later. So the first thing you need is some modelling chocolate. You can make modelling chocolate. I've got a recipe for it which I shall give you another time. But I've bought this Squires one here because it's really nice and firm. So it's basically not for you, Dougie. So this is modelling chocolate and you use it like a marzipan or sugar paste. It's great, it's really pliable, and I've just coloured it. So I'm using some royal blue here to make this shade. So you just need to knead it in the same way you would with sugar paste or marzipan. So get any colours you want ready. I'm doing this really multicoloured one. And what you do is just knead it till it's pliable and then just roll out a little piece. And you don't need a lot. Like this packet I've got here, I've made 3 cakes. I've had 3 attempts of different sort of sizes, and I've only used like less than a quarter of it, so it does go a long way. So you just roll it out to kind of like, I'd say, about a couple of millimetres thickness, and I'm just going to randomly cut different sort of shapes, big chunks, small chunks, jaggedy bits, like random straight edge shapes basically. Just laying them down. I'm going to show you why I'm doing this in a minute, but bear with. Okay, so there's all my other bits there. I mean, I was busy doing this. It took me about an hour to make all these different colours. I've laid them out along here because I'm going to be covering this cake. So I've made the top already. I'm not going to show you the top because what I wanted to do is do the top and let that set for a few hours so the edge is hard. So once you see me do the sides, you'll know how I've done the top. So I'm going to cover this. So what I did, I measured the circumference, and it actually handily turned out to be the length of my rolling pin. So I need to make a nice long piece of covering, which is about the length of my rolling pin, and it needs to be as tall as the cake. So that's going to be like about 2/3 of the way up there. So what you need to do is work out your surface area. You can do any size cake you like, just for a little bit of extra. Oh look, it's falling off, it's coming off its board. Here we go. For a few extra little bits, you also get some tiny, tiny flecks of stone in Terrazzo. So for that, I'm just going to use some strand sprinkles. So I'm just going to place them all around my larger pieces of modelling chocolate. I'm going to roll a piece of sugar paste out. And you've probably guessed it, I'm going to overlay this. So what I want to do before I roll out my sugar paste, because once I've done this, I need to work quickly. I'm going to make my cake sticky. Now this cake is a chocolate truffle torte cake, and I've crumb coated it. And then once I've crumb coated it, I've gone over it with a layer of chocolate ganache. First of all, because it's really blooming tasty, but secondly, because it's quite hard, because I want to use a lot of pressure on this to get my terrazzo nice and flat. Lightly brush over some agave onto my cake, and with the agave it's quite nice because it's sticky, but you can get it very thin. Once your sugar paste is on the surface, you need to work quickly. A, because it cracks if you leave it out to air. B, because it will just, after a minute or so, it might stick to your surface, and then you'll have to cut out all your little bits of chocolate again. So that's all done and prepped. I'm just pop that over there. I've got some ivory because I think that looks quite concrete-ish. I need quite a lot because I want to keep it guide stick thickness. So I'm going to start off by just making a sausage. So just knead it. Normally when I'm doing sugar paste and rolling out, I use icing sugar, but I don't want to do that for this design because I want the icing sugar to really stick to the chocolate. It is a bit risky, and I was worried when I first started doing this experiment, would it come off the surface? But it does, because you've got all of those dry bits of chocolate. But again, that's why I'm working quickly. Might need a tiny bit more. I always like to err on the side of caution. Or is it err on the side of caution, is it? Err on the side of caution. I'd rather roll out more than I need than have a mistake. So I can always just reuse the excess. Even a bit more, because now I've worried myself. First of all, I'm just going to use my hands to make a kind of sausage. And then I'm just going to push it down to start flattening out. It's going to need to be about 3 inches longer than that. So that's going to be fine, because once I roll it, it's going to really spread. So I'm just going to take some guide sticks. So first of all, I'm going to roll it out this way. Every so often, I'm just going to lift it up because it kind of starts to stick and I need to release it. So that's about right. So I'm just going to check the height. So just measure it like that. So it's almost the height, it just needs to be a little bit longer that way. Just release it again. Lift it on like that and just press it down. Lovely. Keep those guide sticks there. Just roll it this way. So now I can roll right down to the height of the guide sticks. And you can see how much longer it's getting. And I said, didn't I, that it'd be the length of my rolling pin, so it's just a little bit longer. Cut a nice straight line along here because I want it to sit nice and neatly along the bottom of my cake. Pizza wheel, this is the easiest way to do it. And just make a nice cut along here. So that's the excess. I need to wrap it up over a rolling pin and lift it onto my cake. And actually what I'm going to do, Lola, could you pass me that large round board there? Dan's always like, have you got everything you need? And I'm like, yes! Right, okay, Lola's passed me a board. I put it on a small square one because I had to get lots in the fridge, so I'm just going to transfer that onto there. There we go. There's going to be a seam at the back, so if there was a bit that I really preferred, I'd make sure that I started at the opposite side of that, but I think I'm pretty happy with all of it. Gently lift. Try not to stretch too much, bring it over. This is the fun bit. You've got to flip it over. So try not to stretch too much and just turn. Okay, look at that, it's so pretty. So just have a quick look, just see if you need to push anything in. This one's popped out a bit, just pop him in there. I might even just get my handy smooth and just... So to lift this icing onto the cake, you've got to be really careful not to stretch it too much or tear it. So the best way to do that is over a rolling pin. Just a tiny bit of icing sugar in case of sticking, not too much because it dulls the colour pop, so I'll have to polish it off afterwards. I don't want to get too much, but just enough to prevent it being too sticky. So roll it on like that. Bring this in. And now I'm just going to lift it up. I've got that other board there, so I'm using that as a guide, and I'm just going to wrap it all the way round. You have to kind of like hold it with your hand. It is a bit tricky, but just go with it, just keep going. I'll be able to trim it off at the top and bottom, so there we go. Once you've got that on, it becomes easier as you go around because it's not quite as heavy to hold. And I'm going to go over like that. And then I'm going to cut through both pieces so they get a nice neat seam on the back. Go right through there, like that. Take that away, take that away, and then you can join it together nice and neatly. Now what I need to do is trim around the top. So I'm going to get a clean, small knife. And this is why I panelled the top earlier, because it's set hard so I can use it as a guide to cut against. So as you can see, for doing the top, that's really easy. I would have just put a cake board down on my piece and cut around it rather than doing a strip, and I just place that on top. Using a flat angle, going against the top, I'm just going in like this, cutting away the excess. This really makes me happy, this cake. I'm really, really pleased with the effect and the way it's come out. Go around the top and just join that on. Now we've got the bottom, so it just kind of slips down a bit, so I'll just cut that away. So now what I need to do is use my smoothers. Nice and straight, so I'm using that base there to keep it nice and vertical. That straight edge is giving me a nice guide, and I'm pushing really hard. I want to have an invisible seam here too. I'm looking just to see if there's any really big bits that need to be pushed back in. I've got an air bubble here. Just use the tip of my knife just to go in by one of those pieces and just release the... There we go. Look at that. That is beautiful. I'm so happy with this cake. I just think just to make it pop, you know, I use the icing sugar. What I would do is just get my fingertip and just polish. I absolutely love this, and I hope you love it too. And I'd love to see pictures of yours if you do any different colours. Share your pictures, tag me on Instagram at Juliet Sear. Everything you need to make this is just down there. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you really soon.